In this narrative, all of the trees are destroyed, and we must purchase oxygen. This occurred in the town of Thneedville. There isn't a single plant in this town, and everything is dead. Is nothing but plastic. Inorganic materials are used to construct buildings, roads, and even false trees. These trees do not generate oxygen, but instead serve as a light source. Although a meter delivers oxygen to each home, O'Hare Air is a corporation, and it isn't free. Everyone needs to pay to be able to breathe. People have become used to this way of life after so many years after the revolution. They don't even bother questioning it or attempting to alter it. The company that owns O'Hare Air is the Aloysius O'Hare, is the mayor of the town. He is, of course, the wealthiest man in the world enjoying a life of luxury. Ted Wiggins resides in this community as well. He is a young adolescent who has just been through the first love touch. Audrey, a lovely girl, is his crush. Ted is her best friend. Buddy and shows him how she decorated her garden. Ted admires the effort but has some concerns. Audrey drew the candy-like items. She refers to her as the genuine trees that used to exist a long time ago. Audrey's greatest dream is to see a tree, and if a man can bring her one, she will marry him as soon as possible. Ted has a fantastic opportunity. He rushes back to his home and approaches his mother. Where can he locate a tree? She chastises him for his stupidity and goes away. However, Ted's grandmother is ready to assist. She describes Once-ler, a guy who knows everything about genuine trees. He's a mystery man who lives outside of town and trades secrets for money. A nail and an old snail for 2 cents. Ted makes a beeline for the exit. There is an entirely new planet on the other side. A desolate location with no trace of life. Ted rides his one-tired bike to the location Granny told him. It's on the other side of a ruined bridge. As he arrives, he discovers the street of the lifted Lorax. The haze dissipates, exposing a terrifying abandoned mansion. Once named Let's is written on the door tag. Ted rings the bell and a trap launches him into the air and a massive hook captures him. A frightening elderly guy is peering around the corner from the window. Ted is warned not to come to him again. Ted, on the other hand, is adamant and inquires as to what happened to the genuine trees. Once-ler is motivated by hearing the term trees. Attention, he blames himself for the loss of all the trees. That occurred a long time ago, when Once-ler was a young, energetic lad. He embarked on a trip to locate that he needed the perfect material for his new idea. He arrived after many days of trekking, a location deserving of the name Paradise. There were singing fish, dancing bears, and unusual birds. The lake is extremely clean, and the trees are fluffy and colorful. Once-ler got out his guitar and began singing, out of delight. The animals were also feeling him. Once he found a suitable location, he started unloading, carelessly. The animals were irritated by the behavior and were upset, but Once-ler had a plan. Sleeve. He tore open several bags of soft, delectable marshmallows. The creatures had never eaten before, something so delectable. After the feast, Once-ler took up his axe and hacked down a tree. He had no idea. He had summoned a mythological monster, you see. It is the Lorax, the forest's protector. In contrast to his, he's simply a small orange man with a massive mustache. Lorax became enraged as a result of the occurrence. I felt bad for the dead tree. He then proceeded to locate Once-ler and instructed him to leave. Right immediately, go to the wilderness. Once-ler didn't appear to mind and continued with his business. Lorax tells him of a curse on him, but the Once-ler doesn't take it seriously either. What occurred next was completely unexpected. Ted is paying close attention to the narrative, but the elderly guy is not, refuses to go on. Ted must return to Once-ler the next day if he wants to learn more. Ted fantasizes about Audrey's birthday after going home. He's also present, displaying a living tree. They were ready to kiss when his mother interrupted him. Ted must meet Once-ler once again, but he must spend the weekend with his family. Fortunately, Ted is able to slip out when his mother becomes bored and goes to her room. But he succeeds. O'Hare is blocking the escape gate. The avaricious mayor does not want anybody to learn how to plant trees. Otherwise, no one will purchase his compressed oxygen. He cautions Ted not to meddle with him since he is keeping an eye on him. Every citizen is being watched. Yet the lover boy would not back down at any cost. As O'Hare departs, Ted leaves town once again. Once-ler is surprised to see him again. He is aware of Ted's actions, It's for a lady. A boy will do something dumb once because he is a boy, but if he does it again, he will be punished. It's for a female. Once-ler then resumes his narrative. During his first night in the woods, the Lorax banded together with the animals to transport Once-ler and his bed, and he flung him away, in the river. A baby bear was also placed on the bed by accident. Lorax hurried to the bear's aid and he attempted to climb the tree but failed. Once-ler was swept away by the flow of the bed into the shallow sea. I awoke. He began to panic and continued to attempt to overcome the deadly sea waves. Finally, the bed became more stable, but the waterfall was just a few inches away. Lorax obtained a stick and hurled a massive stone in the direction of the waterfall. It landed on the bed, and Once-ler was tossed into the river. Lorax became concerned when he saw him unconscious. Static electricity was used to wake him awake. Once-ler was appreciative for the act of compassion and pledged to return the favor. Never chop down another tree again. He awoke the following morning surrounded by all the animals. They were polluting all he had. Once-ler became enraged and made the decision to depart for promoting his company. He created a fabric work named Thneed out of the fir tree. It may be utilized in a variety of ways, as a scarf, a rug, a towel, and much more. Lorax created, he mocked his strange idea and anticipated its downfall. He was correct. Everyone others did as well. Once innovation Lear's was made fun of. He broke down and flung away the Thneed. It tripped by mistake. The head of a gorgeous girl. She looked great, and now everyone else wants a Thneed. Once-ler lives among the woodland creatures, unaware of his accomplishment. Suddenly, a mob marched towards him, asking a Thneed. He's going to get rich. Once again, Once-ler ends the narrative on a cliffhanger. The next day, Ted attempts to leave town again after visiting the market, but O'Hare is closed. The door was shut. Ted glances around and notices a cloud-high structure. He uses it to leap out of the town borders. He presents a bag of marshmallows to Once-ler and hears the remainder of the narrative. Following a successful marketing campaign, Once-ler encouraged his family to assist him. They were quite a group of selfish and lazy individuals who constantly made fun of Once-ler. They were just interested in the money. It is possible for a company to manufacture. The Lorax despised them, but Once-ler promised them of their protection. The harvesting started, but Mother Lurs found it exhausting and time-consuming. She proposed Once-ler consented to cut down a few trees. He was reminded of the pledge by Lorax. They labeled him a nasty man, but once desirelers for achievement didn't allow him to back down. He took out his guitar and began to perform a tune about not being too horrible. He was certain that he was only following his fate. He, like every other businessman, solely considered profit and money are both important. His avarice blinded him to the devastation he was wreaking. His business became larger by the day. The pollutants permeated the whole atmosphere. The water became tainted, and the fish would perish. There was no food left for the animals either. Meanwhile, Once-ler had constructed a massive opulent home with a large office. Lorax arrived to greet him, and he informed him about his transformation. He had everything, yet he still desired more. Once-ler had transformed into a whole different person. He became a different person and forgot about the vow he made. Lorax felt sorry for him, but Once-ler thought he was innocent. Nothing could stop him since he wasn't doing anything unlawful. As soon as he mentioned the final tree, cut down, there were none left. Once Thneed-ler's business is complete, his family abandoned him, and the animals traveled in search of a better home. Lorax also flew back to his origins. Once-ler had left everyone alone in the toxic atmosphere he had created. He is still alive today. He was sorry for his faults. He also questions why Lorax went without cleaning up the mess. But currently he feels he entrusted the difficult assignment to a brave young man like Ted. Once-ler is the final seed to germinate, a tree. He hands it over to Ted and instructs him to place it in the center of town where everyone can see it. He must persuade people to care for trees once again. It may be a little seed, but it is not what it seems to be. It's all about what it can become right now. Ted slips back into town through the drainage. He breaks the security camera, but it continues to record everything and transmits the data to O'Hare. Ted sprints towards his home, and along the route, he summons Audrey as well. Ted begins seeking a means to germinate as soon as he enters his room. The germ. Suddenly, his mother begins to call him. She needs him downstairs right now. Ted knocks on the water bottle as he rushes out the door and it spills over the seed. O'Hare Airport, come back to see him. He requests that Ted give over the seed, but he is rejected. O'Hare requests his guys to look inside Ted's bedroom. They go through everything, but cannot locate the seed. Ted's mother arrives and becomes enraged with his impolite conduct. O'Hare departs on her. He will keep an eye on them, though. Ted begins his hunt after his departure. For the seed, he only discovers Grandma's stick. She has kept the seed. Germination has begun already. It's a very heartwarming sight. Audrey also makes it there. She is ecstatic. For the first time in her life, she got to view an actual plant. Ted asks for her assistance in planting the seed is in the midst of town. But the O'Hare security guards are right in front of it, of their residence. It's time for Mom to shine. She gets into her high-tech vehicle, puts on the music, and drives away. The guard suspects Ted is inside the vehicle and begins pursuing it. He employs the nitro boost, causes the automobile to accelerate and collides with the evading vehicle. Ted's mother takes a risk and turns around, into a half-constructed bridge. Fortunately, she hits the brakes at the appropriate time. The security guard. As he unlocks the automobile door, he only discovers a dummy. Ted and Audrey are already on their way, as well as my grandmother. O'Hare is also not giving up. He's on the hunt for the seed. Ted is driving through O'Hare, is forced to take unsafe paths and collides with his guards. Even after such mishaps, O'Hare maintains his pursuit. Ted boards a lift and ascends to the top of a towering skyscraper. He double-checks. It's just okay on the seed. O'Hare becomes enraged and fires his rifle at the oxygen fans. The seed is blown away by the wind. O'Hare and his assistant dash after it. Ted will be there as well. The seed falls inside an oxygen container, but it is struck by a vehicle, and the seed is lost once again. The containers are being rolled along the street. O'Hare grabs the seed container, but his hand slips. It was trapped in it. Ted is also on his way. He nearly misses the grab, but the cool grandmother saves him. She snatches the seed with her stick. They travel to Central Park and begin searching, seeking a planting location, but there is no mud to be found. Not to worry. A grandmother is always prepared with a solution. She receives aboard the tractor and collides with the O'Hare monument. The head falls and shatters the metal ground. The general populace begins to doubt their actions. O'Hare approaches and describes a tree as unclean and worthless. He attempts to persuade the people that trees are unnecessary and that photosynthesis is a waste of time. A lie! Everyone opposes Ted's goal and attempts to stop him. Ted climbs on the tractor and begins to pound the town's defenses. They disintegrate, exposing the world beyond. It is the secret, reality. The Needville is only a mirage. Ted urges that everyone give him a chance. Trees. People begin to understand his message. They are sick of being locked within a plastic shell. The partitions. People want to breathe clean, unpolluted air. O'Hare makes one final attempt to halt them. Yet they have already made their decision. Ted places the seed with their help and it is watered. Plants will begin to sprout everywhere in a matter of years. Once-ler has emerged. He also takes care of his residents and his little garden regularly. Animals are also returning, but only Ler is anticipating someone else. Lorax, an old acquaintance. He finally made his buddy proud. To effect change, you must first embody the change. According to Dr. Seuss. In his book, he remarked, "Unless someone like you is concerned, nothing will improve. It will not." Ted was one of those who cared and worked hard. People like him will continue to exist. We will continue to have free air and a planet worth living in, and this story ends here.